Hello and welcome. This is Newsroom Newsbreak. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor. A special broadcast over the next 30 minutes. We will be talking everything you need to know about cryptocurrency and the madness we've seen in the market in the past 24 hours. What exactly happened? That one piece of information that a cryptocurrency bill, in what form we did not know, will be introduced in the upcoming winter session. That news has brought in a bloodbath in the market. Now, 24 hours on, where do we stand? How do we decode what happened and also reflect on what is likely to happen then next? Understand what happened, try and put it in a nutshell, and also reflect on the future. Those are going to be the three things we do over the next 30 minutes. Let me introduce my panel. We've got an excellent set of people here for you today to understand what exactly cryptocurrency is. Joining us today is Priyanka Chaturvedi, Rajya Sabha MP leader Shiv Sena, talking about crypto on this. Vishal Malhotra, first Indian actor to sell an NFT, is with us on the program. Avinash Shekhar, the co-CEO of ZepPay, also member of the Blockchain and Crypto Assets Council, is with us. Also with us is Siddharth Gani. He is the CEO of Cribbaco, Bitcoin professional. Lots of details looking to get from him. And also joining us now is Rohas, somebody who's been a regular with us to try and decode everything that's happening when it comes to cryptocurrency. Now, before we go to our panel and understand what happened, let's quickly dive into an explainer and show you, tell you, so that you're able to understand what exactly happened in the past 24 hours. Let's start with what exactly led to this bloodbath in the market first. Now, it all started when the news first came in that, like I said, the crypto bill will be brought in. Hours into the news, the markets had crashed. They were all trading in the red. And how it is in the crypto market, once Bitcoin takes a hit, the entire market takes a hit. If you look at numbers, crypto in India, the market here fell overall by around 15% or so. Most widely traded Bitcoin fell by about 17%, Ethereum by 15%, Ether by 18% as well. Now, as we stand roughly 24 hours into that entire bloodbath, the market is just beginning to stabilize. So this is what happened. What led to it? Let's see that next. Now, though it was widely speculated that the bill that will come in, or perhaps has been mentioned as part of those list of 25-26 bills that will come up in winter session, it talks about banning. NDTV now can confirm to you, picking up from top sources both in the crypto industry and also the government, that that's not likely to be the case at all. What is going to happen? Well, a ban is unlikely, a regulation is likely. What we're also seeing, and perhaps where the confusion really began, was that a previous version, the 2019 version of the crypto bill, talked about a complete ban. Since then, a lot of negotiations have happened, and India's had a huge journey already when it comes to crypto. And now we are hearing that it will not be put out as a currency, but as a special asset class, which will be regulated. In what shape and form, we are still to understand that from the government. Now, so what changed, right? India has had this love-hate relationship with crypto. It all started with 2018 when the RBI banned crypto. Then the Supreme Court sort of removed that ban in 2020. 2021, conversation between the crypto community and the government has finally begun on very, very legitimate notes. And three important meetings happened in the span of the last 1 month that is going to define which way India looks at crypto and what is the regulation they're looking like. The first meeting was a closed-door meeting that the Prime Minister held with three important representatives. The RBI, there was the Ministry of Home Affairs and also Finance. He tried to understand from them what exactly is this entire crypto conundrum all about and how do we sort of get on with this. That same very weekend, the first parliamentary panel had the official meeting with the crypto community. The first time they were brought on board and presentations were made to educate even our MPs on that panel to tell them what exactly is crypto all about and why a regulation should come in. The meeting of the Parliamentary Affairs ended on a positive note, and the statement that came from there was that crypto cannot be banned, it must be regulated. Soon after that, the Prime Minister made a statement as well, all of that talking about how we need to be future ready and we need to do this with a cautious sense of enthusiasm. Also talking about the flip side of crypto. There is an entire issue of Hawala transactions as well that the Prime Minister is very, very cautious about. So, having understood all of that and looking at India's crypto journey as well, if you look at that, really the love-hate relationship, like I said, that India has had with crypto, all of that continues. What is going to happen next? Well, today an important meeting took place. Now, for those of you who don't understand how the entire thing of bills work, a bill before being tabled in front of Parliament has to be cleared by the Cabinet. The Cabinet today did sit on several bills. Crypto was not part of them. And the top sources in the government indicating to NDTV that government does not want to take up crypto in the present form of the bill. Several amendments are to come in, and that will be key to how India sees crypto. All right, so having understood that, let's just cut across to our panel now and let me get some first thoughts there from all our guests that are joining us today. Let me first go to Priyanka Chaturvedi. Priyanka, you've talked very openly. We just spoke last week as well, and you talked about how India needed to move forward and embrace crypto, not as a currency, as is often misunderstood, but actually as an asset class. Were you surprised, as the rest of the market, when you saw the news about how a bill is coming in and a bill that could talk about a possible ban?
Okay, Sonal, I just wanted to tell you upfront in the debate that I won't be able to just stay for the rest of the discussion. So I'll just make my points very clearly and very briefly. First, considering the Prime Minister spoke about it in a positive way, it sent out a message that there will be a very progressive law that is coming into place, and there were, I wouldn't call it extensive consultations, but there were a few rounds of consultations where those who are invested in it, those who are the stakeholders, had a free and fair discussion with the standing committee. This absolutely came as a shock simply because, and when I speak positively about new technology, or I speak positively about crypto space as we talk about it and how it's evolving, I only speak from the perspective of investors because they're heavily invested into it. I speak from the space of those stakeholders who have started these exchanges, and they're also evolving into various other tech spaces to monetize it or to look at it as a viable economy model. And third is from the space of creating jobs for the young, considering it is youth seem to connect with it. Somehow people who do not have an understanding of technology are reluctant about it and talking about a ban. Today, our former RBI governor also in his column has categorically said we can look at policies such as those in Singapore, Japan and the UK, which does not ban it, which does not make it a legal currency of exchange, currency of exchange per se, but makes it an asset class. And when you have an asset class, you can also define the tax regime around it. By blocking something because you have no understanding of it, will only create something which is an unrest, will push it to the dark web, and will continue being as it is, continue to thrive. With India missing out on the next wave, as well as India missing out on economic growth.
You're saying ban actually brings the crypto journey back. It's going to actually lead to all the fears that we have talked about of Hawala transactions, of people going underground and having secret wallets with which they work.
Absolutely. You are taking away the transparency of it all. What we're trying to do is register these exchanges. What I stand for is registering these exchanges. We cannot have fly-by-night operators running away with people's money under the garb of, 1000% returns, etc. Second is every investor who joins this particular space, there is a KYC documentation that happens. We also define the tax regime for it. If you are earning profits out of it, there has to be some tax component. Nobody is talking about making it a legal tender of exchange. We're talking about looking at it from an asset class and creating your options open, your broader framework dynamic, so that as the space evolves, you continue to make those changes. Banning it actually ensures that there is no discussion around it, and this is how India looks at it. But I believe sources are also saying that this is not a ban. This is going to be, they've used the word prohibit, but I don't know how it will come, in what form and structure. So I would just say I would want everyone to be a lot more cautious, but more than cautious, I think every investor should also have knowledge before stepping into this space, because it continues to be a grey zone.
Absolutely. All the rights, things to have
Thank you so much.
said actually on that note. Let me go to Avinash next, Zeppe co-CEO over there. Avinash, there has been a lot of fear, what we call is FUD, right, in the crypto tech world that had surrounded this. It led to a massive bloodbath, overnight selling happening. And look at where we're standing right now, where gradually the information about what's actually going to happen has settled in and the market seems to be stabilizing at the moment at least.
Yeah, that's right. So, Sonal, if you remember, a similar thing happened in February 2021 when there was a news that some bill will be introduced in the parliament. So, from our side, I think there are 2-3 things which is very, very important from a crypto industry point of view. One is that we need to realize that it's a new technology, it's a path-breaking, revolutionary technology, and it will take some time for it to play out. Okay, so once you have that understanding that's a new technology and it can create lots of wealth, lots of education, jobs and wealth creation for the country, then we should move to the next step, saying that how do we regulate, how do we basically take the good part of it or best part of it and try to minimize the bad effect. As Priyanka ji said that the only way to actually minimize the bad aspects
is
of
to regularize.
Is to regulate, is to ensure that the legitimate players are encouraged, innovations is encouraged, and the illegitimate players are punished, basically. And any ban, absolute ban, will have a reverse effect of from what the government actually or the industry actually intends in this technology.
Let me bring in Gaurav in this conversation now. And Gaurav is also, apart from being the CEO of BitBNS, is a member of the BACC, the Blockchain and Crypto Assets Council there. Gaurav, you've held several meetings, official, unofficial, lot of closed-door conversations with the government as well, trying to understand, trying to educate mostly. That's where education, that is what it comes down to every time we talk about cryptocurrency. So currently, and correct me if I'm wrong, my information at least is that what has been tabled right now or has been mentioned as part of the list is the old bill without the amendments which the government is ready to talk about and ready to bring in, just that the nature of it has not been defined just yet. If you could unmute yourself, please.
So we definitely are not going to see the old bill, which is the 2019 bill that has been out there. The government has been cautiously optimistic on things. There have been a lot of positive discussions that have happened with the stakeholders there. And we see absolute at the same time, some of the concerns that had been sort of raised would be addressed in the bill. So one of the concerns is the movement of money outside India, or say users from India trading on international exchanges which are not sort of registered in India. Now that is sort of something that would be addressed. Use case of crypto as a payment mechanism would be addressed. So a lot of these aspects would be kind of addressed, which would give much further clarity around what is allowed, what is not allowed, what is restricted.
Let me bring in Siddharth now on this entire aspect of how does one really sort of make sense of this news. We've spoken earlier about how volatile the market is really, and one piece of information, sometimes one tweet, this time one piece of information that it is going to be a bill that is going to come in, and nobody knows what is in that bill, at least so far. And we also know this is not the same form in which it will be brought in. How does one think, if you are an investor who just started with the crypto journey in India, and we've seen a huge jump since say February to where we stand now, just this year alone, Bitcoin, Ethereum, they all had their lifetime highs, and now look where we are.
Yes, that's right, and I would also like to compliment that you explained the entire FUD quite well in the first few minutes. Coming to the interpretation of what all has happened, it is. I think it was too much reading between the lines. There was nothing which said that crypto would be banned. See, private currencies are anyways banned in India, right? Now, private cryptocurrencies would also be banned. So, but Bitcoin is decentralized. It's not private, because private, the definition of private is that somebody is issuing the currency as an individual or an entity is issuing a currency, that would be considered as private. Bitcoin is unprecedented. It's decentralized, not owned or operated by any individual. So that defines it quite well. And also, it was the exact copy paste, like I think Gaurav just mentioned, right? It was the exact copy paste of the bulletin which was issued in 2021.
Right before the monsoon session as well.
Exactly.
It was a handover.
But it was still better than the 2018 Garg committee bill, because that said that it is banning of cryptocurrency, right? So there was a very clear message that we want to ban. Now it is, I mean, they are definitely considering it, and all the action which happened in the last 2 weeks, the government's interactions and internal meetings, that indicates that if they had to ban it, they wouldn't have done all this, right? So definitely we are not looking at a ban.
I mean, but I don't want to speculate on what the government will do, not do. As an investor, somebody who's watching this right now, they want to know what's the way forward on this, right? I know Vishal and Rohas has been waiting as well. Vishal, let me come to you first. And the reason I wanted Vishal on the program is also to talk about how people confuse cryptocurrency just because the name currency is attached to it, as if it is going to be a legal tender, as if this is this great threat to INR, to US dollar, it's going to destroy our economy, etc. But Vishal, NFT, DeFi, etc., so much more to be understood when it comes to crypto. How are people like you viewing this, all invested in the market, but now wondering what suddenly happened?
Well, thank you for having me here and giving me the opportunity. So on the onset, I'm a firm believer that the entire cryptocurrency and the crypto world, the blockchain in general, is going to be a huge facilitator in the Prime Minister's vision of the $5 trillion economy. Talking from an NFT community point of view, the fear only sets in when the regulation reaches a place where there's a fencing around the fact where the wallets like MetaMask, etc., are not allowed to function anymore, which directly affects purchase and collection of NFTs. We hope that we are all hoping for regulation because it makes life a lot more easier rather than just living on the fence. I am of the personal belief, and I hope so, that there's not going to be a blanket ban, but I do expect some kind of regulation, which some will like and some will not. However, I have great, I have great hope that today we have people listening and representing us who are going to get that voice across that this is the right path as far as cryptocurrency and the whole blockchain world, because we can't avoid it. This is Internet 3.0. So as Priyanka had earlier said, that we don't want to do it in the dark world. I mean that's, when you ban something and the more you tell people not to do something, so might as well get it done in a proper regulated manner, which everybody will follow. And I definitely intend to do that.
Right. Let me bring in Rohas now. And Rohas, I literally saved you for the last to get an overall view on what and how to look at the market now. We're looking at a time, and very important to perhaps, one thing that we've missed so far is how RBI is already talking about a digital currency for India. So there is going to be space for digital currency, and there is going to be space for assets as well. So that is a distinction that really one has to make as of this moment. And again, educate yourself more on this. Watch our show, Coffee and Crypto, if you haven't understood that already. But Rohas, take us through for people watching right now, saying, well, this is so volatile. How do we move forward on this? What is the best way to really track markets as of this moment? Least to say, regulation coming in early will actually solve a lot of these problems. Rohas, if you can unmute yourself, please.
I don't really expect the regulation to come in this year. So despite what we are hearing and despite the fact that there may be a bill ready, I don't see it happening in 2021. Another thing I'd like to talk about is there are 13,000 cryptos in the world. And as you correctly said in the beginning, very few of them are currencies. So we could broadly divide them into currencies and utility coins. Now, I come from the blockchain industry and the crypto industry. I'm not an investor or a speculator. I work in the industry. Honestly, for us, it doesn't make a difference whether things like currencies get banned. What we are interested in is utility coins. Things like Ethereum or Solana, these are blockchain platforms on which today billions of dollars of transactions are happening. whether we look at the metaverse, NFTs, or we talk about Web 3.0. So I'm more interested in those should not be impacted. And I don't really think the government has any intention on banning those kind of utility coins. But definitely a control on things like Bitcoin and Monero is essential. Not just because they can be used for crime, because come on, we've had crime forever. Ever since we have had humanity, we've had crime. But cryptos just came a few years ago. So it's not like without crypto, there was no crime. But what happens is, it is very easy today to misuse a privacy coin like Monero, and it becomes extremely difficult for the law enforcement to track it down.
Right.
So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if privacy coins get banned completely. And I'd quite be in favor of that.
All right. So, well, that is the time we have on the program today. The idea was to bring you different perspective on how the industry, different stakeholders are actually viewing crypto market right now, especially on a day like this. And what a day, really. We're going to slip into a break. Thank you all for joining us.